как же карантин?
But what about quarantine? People are more important than quarantine.
Photos and hugs with everyone. Putin came out in Kronstadt to talk to people, and this is a video of a visit to Derbent. Telegram channels close to the Kremlin write that recently it was decided to intensify Vladimir Putin's trips around Russia. The presidential administration allegedly asked the regions of the Federation to draw up a plan of events that Putin could visit in the next few weeks. Such activity is striking against the background of his behavior earlier. Not so long ago, the president of the Russian Federation refused to let people near him, fenced himself off from them with a long table, forced them to sit in quarantine for 2 weeks, and take a test for COVID-19 several times before the meeting. Changes in Putin's behavior drew the attention of journalists from the New York Times. They write that the Russian president, even before COVID-19, preferred more controlled activities. He went to check factories, met with work teams, or led military ceremonies. Sometimes Putin also showed photos of his leisure time, where he demonstrated his physical form. But now he had to radically change his behavior, and this happened after Prigozhin's rebellion, analysts say.
Prigozhin's rebellion was the strongest blow to the legitimacy of the leadership. Where is the legitimacy? From people. Therefore, the desire to rush into the people and feel that you are supported is such a need that arises against the backdrop of rebellion. Tatiana Stanovaya, Russian political scientist, senior fellow at the Carnegie Center for Russian and Eurasian Studies in Berlin, in a commentary to the New York Times.
The actions of the founder of PMC Wagner, and especially his impunity, have spoiled Putin's image, as the presidential elections in Russia are scheduled for the next year, 2024.
Putin has shown himself to be a very weak person who does not control anything. Therefore, he urgently needs to gain electoral points and show his muscularism and the fact that he continues to be alpha in Russia.
The press secretary of the president of the Russian Federation, Dmitry Peskov, said Putin went against, I quote, strong recommendations of experts and made a firm decision to interact with the crowd, because allegedly he could not refuse these people and not greet him. But it is unlikely that Putin thought about the desire of the people, experts say.
He does this primarily in order to emphasize his ability to act, his closeness to the people and support from the people. Putin finally decided to go to the elections if even before the start of a large-scale war against Ukraine, some option with a successor was considered, and so on. Now he has refused these options.
The president of the Russian Federation assigns a special role in restoring his image to children. He has resorted to this technique before. There are many photos of Putin with children on the net. And here again, he met with a girl from Derbent, who allegedly burst into tears because she could not see the president during his recent visit to Dagestan. Therefore, the child and mother were brought to the Kremlin, presented with a bouquet, then on the excursion to the president's office and treated to tea. And during the meeting, the Minister of Finance of the Russian Federation reported on the allocation of an additional 5 billion rubles for Dagestan.
A classic story when an authoritarian ruler forms an image for himself, and this image should be based on the principle or some symbolism of paternity. He is the father for his people. This is evidence that they have a crisis of the genre. They don't know how else to attract attention in general, emphasize its political and physiological viability, except to show in contrast that he can still hug something with children and do big things.
International experts are inclined to believe that in a system that has destroyed Putin's competitors for many years, the election results are obvious, and yet the Kremlin will have to keep an eye on the turnout and winning percentage, just like the Russian elites, who are unlikely to be convinced by photos with children. Reported by Roman Smoler, Angelika Brushnevska, UA TV News.